Hi everyone, it's Don, and I hope you're having a fantastic week. Well, a lot of cruise ports out there are just clamoring for people's business. They want to increase the tourism as much as possible. Well, one port out there is actually cutting back, and cutting back a lot. The cruise port of Dublin, Ireland, has just announced that they are cutting back the amount of cruise ships allowed into their port to focus more on cargo shipping, especially in the light of what's happening with Brexit and the ramifications from that, and needing to come up with new customs areas, and more buildings need to be built to just bring in cargo into the port. That, though, might not be the whole story, but first off, let's take a look at the quick history of Dublin, the cruise port. It is this year gone by in 2018, had about 140 cruise ships. This year, they're up to 150 160 this year. Next year, they already have in 2020 140 books, and the whole year isn't filled yet. So they're expecting like 170 to 180 more bookings that year. And then you would expect 2021 would be even bigger? No, sir. They are actually cutting it down to about 80 stops allowed in the port, cutting it in over half the amount that's expected to go next year. That has hit the cruise industry pretty hard, and they are very concerned. Not only is the cruise industry and CLIA, the Association for Cruise Lines, is really concerned about this turn of development, but also the tourism industry of Ireland is, and all the shops and the hotels and the restaurants and all the businesses that rely on cruises to come in and generate income and tourism for the country. Yeah, just cutting it back in half is a lot. We're talking, you know, 80, 90,000 people at some point not visiting your city now for tourism dollars. That's an awful lot of money lost to the industry. Another way of looking at this, they're coming out and saying that it's happening because of Brexit and then the needs for customs offices and the more cargo ships that are going to be coming into the port, that they just can't handle it. So they need to cut back somewhere. They're going to cut back on the cruise industry because the other is more important to the businesses and everything of the country itself. But a lot of people think that this is another negotiating tactics that ports are trying to use with cruise ships. Cruise ships are building more, cruise lines are building more and more cruise ships all the time. Another 21 coming out this year alone, and they need places to go for passengers to visit, that people want to go and visit. And Dublin is becoming a very popular spot. But they say that if they are going to accommodate the cruise industry as well, they really need to expand, especially down near the North Pier. And they, in order to do that, they would need guaranteed funding from somewhere, and particularly the cruise industry. There you have it. So they're kind of putting this, saying, you know what, we're not going to stop you this year, we're not going to stop you next year, but the year after, we're going to cut your cruise stops in half. And a lot of people are saying it's another negotiating tactic. So you can see that the cruise lines like Carnival is doing with one of their cruise destination ports, saying, well, if you don't want us, we're just not going to go. And here's the flip side of that. Now you have a port saying, well, if you want to come here, you're going to have to put in some money because we're not going to build the expansions and the cruise ports and docking that is needed to accommodate both shipping and cruise lines. So you can see it goes both ways, but if you're planning on going to Dublin and that's one of the places you want to visit, you might want to try and get it in this year or next year, because you might have a much harder time in 2021 if nothing changes. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs from around the world, hit that subscribe button. Till next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.